Hey, everybody. Hopefully you're having a great final week of May. Hard to believe that January, February, March, April, May have flown by so quickly in 2020. I know a lot of people would rather say, hey, can we get to December and get 2021 going real fast? 2019 was horrible, but 2020 has been a waste for a lot of people. So I don't think either you're right or wrong, whichever way you're focused on for this year. But welcome to our mass media podcast Mastermind webinar series that we do every Wednesday night. We are honored to have you guys all here. If you're joining us live on Zoom or live streaming on Facebook, we are glad to have you. And tonight's topic as we dive into the podcast hot seats for those. We've got a few people that are supposed to be joining us that opted in to be a part of it. I had a couple emails from people, so hopefully they're logging in here in just a second. Otherwise, we'll go with who we have. But one of the things, a couple things to keep in mind, Joe, our buddy Super Joe Pardo, is doing another online virtual summit on using video with your podcast this Friday or Saturday. I got to take a look at it. But if you're part of the independent podcasters group out there, I'm actually honored to be speaking on that for 20 minutes on how we use video in our podcast marketing. But it's a great, I think it's about a 10-hour live stream. For those that are registered, I will post a link in the group and send an email link out to everybody there as well too. But just got word, I guess, late yesterday that I'm on the speaking list of that. So I'm excited to be part of that as well. But a big thing I want you guys to start planning on. I know it's May 27th. May's only got about 4 days left. June, there is a big date in June that I want you to keep an eye out for. And that's the last day of June, June 30th. It's a Tuesday. Now, what's so important about June 30th? Well, I think it's a sign that a lot of places are open a week before technically the 4th of July. But what is really more important about that is International Social Media Day. And yes, some people are like, social media had an international day. I did not know this until about 4 years ago. And then one of my friends, who's a fellow marketer here in Austin, Texas, was able to get the city of Austin to recognize that day like they recognize it across the country in a variety of places. So there are a lot of different people that get together, social media agencies, social media experts that get together to do something on that day. And 3 years ago, I was a part of the first ever social media day here in Austin, Texas. It was live streamed with about 15 different speakers at the digital marketers offices here, which are digitalmarketer.com. I was glad to be a sponsor and a speaker for that. The following year, Christy and Elijah White's the guys who were able to get it approved and recognized by the state or by the city of Austin. And I teamed up to do a 27-hour social media day live stream with a ton of people on it in 15 different countries. And we had over 150,000 views on the live stream for that. Last year, I was not able to be a part of it because I had another class that I was teaching. But we decided to bring it back since this is on a Tuesday this year round. So we are going to be doing a 12-hour live stream with roughly about 24, 25 social media experts, podcasters on June 30th. So it's a Tuesday. You'll see me post more about that. We've got the lineup pretty much already set. I know, a month out, and Scott's got the lineup set. What is up with that? But we will be live streaming that throughout the day. I encourage you to start planning things for your podcast. And that's why I bring it up tonight and ahead of time like this. Is if there's an event going on, most of us, obviously, Memorial Day weekend. Most of us know that Labor Day is around the corner, right? Here in a couple months, Labor Day, you got 4th of July, Father's Day. We had Mother's Day this month. I guess there'd probably be a Freedom Day when the country does officially fully open. But I want you guys to start planning this stuff now for your businesses. You don't have to have a podcast to do this. If you've got a social media account, if you've got something that you're using to market, email blast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you're using, start planning to promote your business, promote your podcast throughout that day. Maybe it's just one post. Maybe you're talking about your social media strategy. Maybe you're just trying to expand your strategy. Maybe you're trying to link up with others. So I encourage you to put that on the calendar. Tuesday, June 30th, all days, International Social Media Day. Another important date that you may want to look at and plan out is September 30th, which is International Podcast Day. I believe that falls on a Sunday, but I could be wrong. But what I'm trying to get at is there are some opportunities for you guys to be sharing and taking things to a different level in your own marketing. And the idea of that is to do that on a regular basis. It doesn't have to wait for International Social Media Day or International Podcast Day to promote your stuff. Start promoting your stuff now. Start sharing what you're doing. And That's the only way to get word out, is can do it on a consistent basis. So that's what I have to say about that. 2 events, like I said, Independent Podcast Festival again this Friday or Saturday. I apologize, don't have the date on it. It's been a hectic couple of days, kind of a shorter week for us. But let's talk about hot seats. Let's get into the drum roll here. Hot seat. What is a hot seat? Okay, drum roll, please. And whether you're joining me live here on the Zoom or you're watching this live, like I see, hey buddy, hey Daniel Gomez, watching live on the Facebook Live and comment. It looks like we've got Stephanie Goodman and a few others out there that are watching us. Hey, great. Glad to have you here. Love for you to join us here in RSVP. I'd rather have you, if you're watching this, join us on the Zoom. Click on the link that's in the thing and join us as well there for you. But we had a couple people that I was like, hey, are you, and people reached out to us and said, hey, I'm definitely interested in being on the call tonight. And so the first one is Emma available here? Let's see. Emma, let's see if Emma's available here tonight, because she reached out to me immediately and was like, I definitely want to be in the hot seat tonight. She wrote me a long email, and no, she's not on the call tonight. That's the way that love goes sometimes, right? Yes, I'm excited. Oh shit, I don't want to be called on. So let's talk about who's watching this, who has a podcast, and it doesn't have to be a 600 episode, 100. It could be you've got 1 or 2 episodes. Who would like to come on and talk about their podcast as a hot seat aspect? Now, if you don't have a podcast, I'm going to ask you not to jump into later on. If you don't have a podcast, if we've got time, I'll open up for 1 hot seat for you to help you kind of as a game plan if you're looking to launch your podcast. So if you could do me in the chat roll, hey, I have a podcast I would love to be on, or I'm planning a podcast, do that in the chat roll in Zoom here. Also, if you're watching this on the Facebook group, feel free to do that there. We'll try to respond and bring you guys on there as well too for you. So I know that David Shiner Khan's got a podcast. We had him on the first hot seat day. Let's see here, chat roll here. Nadia says, I have a podcast. I'm hoping to be on the hot seat. Thank you, Nadia. Okay. Lauren says, I have 2 podcasts. We're planning to come back after a hiatus this summer. Okay. And Dr. Karen Wilson Starks says, I have a podcast, The Voice of Leadership. Okay. Well, let's bring Nadia on. Nadia, do you have the opportunity if I bring you live on via speaker, or if you've got a webcam, I'm glad to bring you on there. We can actually talk to you live or bring you on as a panelist. Are you okay with that, Nadia? Nadia will be first. Lauren, you'll be second. And Dr. Karen Wilson Starks should be third. How's that sound? I think it sounds good to me. So Nadia, I'm gonna try to bring you on right now as a panelist. I'm gonna, can't take that phone call now. Promote the Panette. All right, so I'm bringing Nadia on here. Are you there, Nadia? And let's unmute her. There you go. Can you hear me?
All right.
There you go. Awesome.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going? How's it going? How's it going?
It's doing great. I actually I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone right now. So that's pretty cool. You know, I listened to you the first few words and I'm like, oh my God, this is too much for me. So I decided to raise my hand since Emma is not showing up yet.
That's okay. That's all right, Nadia.
And by the way, she might have an issue with the time zone. I had that problem a few months ago. So. Okay.
Well, it won't be the first time that we do this. It won't be the only time we do this. So Nadia, tell me a little bit about you and your podcast.
My podcast is about, well, the title of the podcast is Assertive Radiance. And it started with Love Me Back to Life. Happiness, Love Me Back to Life. And then after 40 episodes, I felt like I exhausted that topic and I wanted to be more forward thinking. So I started talking about Assertive Radiance, which is really my life as my quest on financial freedom, going through the grind throughout the whole process of building a skincare, but also discovering myself and why I'm sabotaging myself along the way. And whatever I'm going through, they get to hear it. And so the thing though is it was so raw and so personal that I didn't promote it. And I released Monday episode 123. And it's trickling, you know, the audience, but I'm like, you know what? I'm making a difference to 100 people plus whoever they are in their circle. So I have to look at it from this. However, it's time for me to play bigger, you know. So that's why I saw your email. You know, there's a coincidence, it's no coincidence that today your email popped up. So there I am.
Okay. So congratulations on 123 episodes. That's phenomenal. How often do you release?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you happy with the download numbers, or you would like to see more downloads, more listens?
Well, of course I think I would make a bigger impact if more people listen to the message.
Sure. How are you promoting it?
I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
All right. It's one of those, I honestly don't do anything. I'm actually working on putting the podcast into videos, and it takes me forever because I'm doing everything. So.
Okay. So what would you like to accomplish? I mean, that's the thing. If you're not promoting, what would you like to accomplish with your podcast? You know, you said get more listeners. Are you wanting to promote it more? Are you wanting to share the message out more to have a bigger audience, or what's your big goal so that I can kind of go in that direction for you?
Well, obviously to promote it, the idea is where I was going with this, and there lies the bigger challenge is that I have two messages, and one is over here, which is all about empowerment, and the other one is over here, which is about skincare. But like I mentioned before, it's not just about the product you put on your face, but how you feel inside. And I tend to be doing, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, the overall is I want to promote the skincare, but I'm starting here and it's going this way. And so I'm doing a little bit of this to keep out going, but then I'm jumping on that. So I'm doing two things in parallel, but it slows down the process at the same time. And at the end of the day, where I'm heading is on Instagram. And what is happening is I came up with a protagonist named Amanda, and I'm heading towards cartoon from a video perspective. And Amanda is the one who needs to love herself back to life, who needs assertive radiance. But I want to mix the skincare information with beauty and feel good, because I know women goes after makeup, but there's a reason underneath it. And that's where I want to go too, because creating brand awareness is about making it them to have an experience. And
well, no, I don't think it's just, yes, an experience is good, but you've also got to have a very clear message.
Well, that too.
And that's the number one thing, is having a clear message. And what you use in your own words, you've got two conflicting messages. You know, in your exact words, you got one message over here and the other message over here. And I think you really you can't drive in both lanes at the same time.
Well, that's what slows down. So what is happening is, as I'm discovering myself, the message is one and the same, but one is one determined the audience, women, for example, as opposed to men. And then women empowerment men empowerment. Do men care about empowerment? I don't know.
I think everybody is looking to be empowered of some sort, for sure. Yes. But I think it's much more of a hot button with women than it is with men. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't mean that in a bad way or anything. I'm just saying that there's a lot of podcasts out there about entrepreneurship, but then also, hey, let's empower ourselves to go take action. I think it's more of a female niche aspect of that aspect, what we see out there for the most part. I mean, I know men want to be empowered. We have egos and want to do things, but I think you hit the nail on the head there. Female empowerment. I think I would almost focus on that aspect, because I think you won't, whenever you have two or three different things come into a podcast, you have your listeners, you know, your avatar, your people that are listening to you come to you for a specific thing. And if you're switching it up and being something different that they're not there for, you'll lose them, you know? It's like saying, hey, somebody's got a popcorn podcast. Okay, the name's Popcorn Podcast. Oh, is it about popcorn? Well, no, it's about something else. People can kind of get away from that. So I think what I would recommend is try to be a little bit more focused. Yeah, you can share your journey. We all share our journey. You're sharing the stories, but I think I would change the name up to be a little bit more directly to what you're talking about.
Well, I see as this, the way I see it right now, as far as I went, is that what has been going on for 123 episode on Monday is one thing. And what I'm heading is where it's pretty much another podcast, but more so on Instagram. What I want to do is those 5 minutes little quick videos. Now, do I want to pull that into an RSS feed and create a podcast with that? That is something else. But you asked me where I'm heading marketing wise. So there's this piece that I can share on Instagram from my own website as Nadia Fleury. And the other things I want to talk about, the skincare, that can just be video, audio, and that is Instagram. And so that way it's still one podcast, but that podcast is what I've been talking about, which is empowerment.
Well, you can almost, the best sponsor I always have heard from, my coaches and my mentors is to sponsor yourself. Instead of trying to get sponsors, is to go ahead and offer up your services, your goodies. So I would say just bring up where you've got ads that you're inserting in, or you're talking about your products on there, because when you beauty care, hey, you feel pretty, you feel confident. When you look good, you feel good, you act good, you're empowered. Can we agree to that?
Yes.
And maybe making that as a spin of what you're talking about on your show, but trying to keep it on the empowerment side, because I think you're gonna have a lot more traction that route. Yeah, it's great to share your show wherever. And I would be marketing not just on Instagram. I would be marketing everywhere. And I apologize, everybody. The drums that you're in the background, ain't nobody drumming in the house. We've got a thunderstorm rolling in. So if some weird reason that the power goes out here, we'll try to get back on here. But it did go out a couple times this weekend. But anyway, I think I would be more focused on the title to tell people exactly what it is that you want to talk about and be exactly in your focus of things. You're going to feel a lot happier. Maybe you do need to do a second spin-off show, or maybe you're doing one show one Tuesday and a second show Thursday. My good friend JJ Flizanes did that. She found herself going through that same thing where she was talking about roughly 5 or 6 subjects, and said it was a daily show. So eventually she spun off 5. She had 5 shows versus just 1 show. So the more you can be specific, the beautiful thing is that it's pretty easy once you started one podcast to start a second one. It's just a matter of putting the time in and doing it. And I think 5-minute teaser episodes are great, but what do those teaser episodes go to? What's the background? Is it going to your website to sell more product? Is it going to YouTube videos that are long form content? Is it going to a blog? Is it going to specific episodes or different podcasts that help promote that? A great example, my friend Cassandra McClure, and she has a thing called the Clean and Beauty Con. She has a podcast called Clean and Beauty Con. If you drop me an email, Nadia, I'll be glad to make an introduction for you.
Okay.
But she focuses specifically on natural products and beauty care with tutorials, videos. She does a 1-day summit. I think she's done like 8 weeks straight every Sunday for she brings on 4 to 5 experts and focus just on that aspect of things. She's very, very focused on that aspect. Yes, she does bring on a little bit about mindset and empowerment and other things like that, but it's primarily the makeup and the beauty care, clean and beauty, making that aspect of that's her message and that's her branding when it comes down to it. And her show reflects that. Her events reflect that. The clearer you can be in what your message is, your product, your podcast, all lined into one thing, that's your brand. Yes, it's about your journey, but talk about it in the brand. And I think you'll find a lot more people that'll identify with that brand because it's a hot button for them. If you can be talking about that one specific thing or one thing that kind of unites everybody together in your show versus kind of, well, I want to do this, but I also want to share this. You are telling stories, but maybe if you're bringing guests on or things like that, they have that kind of same kind of silver thread to every episode, if that makes sense.
Right.
Now, are you promoting the show on any place, or are you just doing the Instagram videos like you talked about?
And right now I step back on every social media and I'm like, okay, where am I heading? So I had to figure myself out first before I'm figuring out how to throw things out there, because I know there's a strategy behind it. And like you said, where am I leading them to afterwards? And I have to be clear on that.
Now, are you just recording audio, or are you doing video as well and audio?
I'm just doing the audio.
How are you recording the episodes?
You mean like what tool I'm using?
Yes,
Like
ma'am. Like
Audition?
Zoom or something. Yeah.
No, I'm using Audition.
Audition. I honestly, and with beauty being a big part of what you're doing and empowerment and stories, I think you should add video to what you're doing. I mean, every place is going to video, and especially if you're using the Instagram, which is such a very visual platform. Video, it will I think only help you with your audience. It'll help you expand. Because what would you say your avatar, like what does your avatar fall into, your age groups for your listeners? Do you have an idea?
Oh, she's about 45 and at crossroads, and like everything is going wrong in her life. And usually the financial is the issue, but that's the outcome, not the root cause. And then she has to like wonder, and it's all about awareness of, taking responsibility for what is going on, and stop the blaming and shaming and all the stuff that we both know, and a few others.
So then I would highly recommend, I mean, you could use Zoom. I don't know if Audacity has a video aspect.
When I do videos, I would use OBS and video it. That's what I would do. I just don't think that this setup this is the best I can get, and I'm not thrilled.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Is that cool?
There's nothing wrong with that. I thought it was a print. It's totally fine.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that the expert tells me it's fine, because I didn't get feedback.
Well, here's the thing is that people aren't going to be watching your video to see what your background is. They're not going to care about the background. They care about you. They want to see you. They want to identify with you. And you've got a little bit, you and I both have an older demographic that maybe isn't always listening to podcasts. And you said something specifically. They're older, going through a bit of a crisis, trying to figure out what they want to do, second career, midlife crisis, whatever. Put it on video. It's a free channel. If you're going to record an episode, throw it on there. Beauty does really well. So if you have any type of keywords or your titles for your episodes, can all do really, really well on YouTube. And that would be an easy way to increase your followers and your listeners.
Is that the thunderstorm coming?
Yeah, it's the thunderstorm, but it's okay. We're still going here until I see a cow flying by and I hear it. Oh,
it's kind of green out there.
Okay, thanks, Steph. Appreciate it. It's fine. All right, I got my weather maiden downstairs telling me what's going on here. So, but that's what I would do, Nadia. I mean, I would, if you're gonna change the name, maybe make it a little bit more with what exactly your focus is. Market the heck out of it. Market it everywhere. If you've got a community you've already built, 123 episodes, it's nothing to sneeze at. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Are you doing all the editing yourself?
Yes.
Are you looking to outsource that?
I'm thinking about it. I know, am I supposed to say this here? I know Tom is doing a great,
yeah. I'm just saying, you might find somebody to help you out with that. They could create infographics. It could be a VA on Fiverr. It could be somebody taking your videos and uploading it to YouTube for you for $10 an episode, something like that, or other ways to help you streamline and squeeze a few more hours out of the day.
Right.
But I would share it everywhere. I mean, you've got a great message. I've known you for a few years. You're very passionate about what you're telling people and sharing. And so just share it everywhere. That's the best way I could tell you. Get the word. All it needs is one person to listen to, and you're talking to that one person that's going through things. But if you add video to it and you add Google and YouTube, the two biggest search engines out there, it's going to help you increase your viewership exponentially.
Is it better to YouTube? That I have mixed feeling between YouTube and Instagram. Instagram is, I know there's a lot of beauty going there. YouTube is a bit more like how-to videos, and then it's also diluted in the sense of the big pool. So
no, I no offense. The YouTube works well when you put the specific keywords in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to put the keywords and SEO optimize your title to find the people that want to. Because YouTube will go out the minute you upload a video and make it public with the description, the keywords and the title. It'll go out and start looking for people to send your way. It's not that it's diluted out there. There's still plenty of people out there that are looking for your product that want to talk with you. That you can. Putting it there would be silly not to. Now Instagram's a shorter aspect of things, but YouTube's 24-hour day, 7-day a week, 365-day advertising for you. Instagram's gonna be very instantaneous, maybe 24 hours if you're doing a story. YouTube will be around a lot longer. Now, it doesn't mean you can't take your Instagram videos, use them on Instagram and then upload them to YouTube and reshare them on YouTube. That's what I would be doing as well if we're in a situation.
Do you reformat them like because of the vertical and horizontal?
You can. I mean, you'd use a thing like you could use repurpose.io. It's a pretty cheap tool, like $20 a month. Yeah, repurpose.io allows for you to change some of the formats and upload the files and change them to different sizes a little bit. So,
but you still need to do some work, because right now I'm working with Adobe Premiere.
Yeah, I think you're trying to knock a nail in with a big sledgehammer versus just a regular hammer. Okay, you could use Canva very easily to create graphics. So
I've been dabbling on all that. Like, again, the root cause. Where am I getting distracted to? And it's to, like I said at the beginning, I show here, and that is for me already putting myself out of my comfort zone. So there is more the problem than anything else.
Just got to do it, or give it or delegate to somebody. Maybe you just hire a VA to handle that for you for 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
And they can start with your 123 episodes and start promoting that back, because a lot of people will like to watch those and binge the early ones. Right.
Yes. So that way so thank you for all your insights.
No problem. Glad to help. Good to see you again, as always, Nadia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same here.
All right. Let's see here. Let's bring on, Nadia. Lauren. So I'm going to move Nadia back to just attendee. Boom. And then let's bring on Lauren.
Hi there.
Hey, Lauren. How's it going today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Tell us about you and your podcast.
So I have two podcasts. One is called Coldest Cases. It's like a history/true crime mix. And then I do another one with my boyfriend called History in a Hurry, which is just taking big topics from history and compressing them down into a little bit less overwhelming, like, 20, 30-minute episodes. So we just took a hiatus. We moved across the country in the middle of a pandemic. It was crazy, but we moved from Austin to Washington, D.C. My boyfriend's an essential worker, so he had a job out here. So we took a hiatus, obviously. It was like, we can't podcast right now. So now we are planning our comeback, our return from hiatus. And I'm kind of choosing, we've done we have an Instagram and a Twitter, and I work in marketing, so I'm pretty, well-versed on social media marketing and that sort of thing. But it's when it comes to the, coming back, and I'm considering, how do I advertise on other podcasts or have podcasts advertise on mine? How do I start building those relationships? How do I start considering more paid social and that sort of thing, just to kind of promote our return and hopefully get new listeners as well?
So have you had guests on either of the shows in the past or not?
No, they're both narrative type.
Right, that's what I figured. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've reached out in the past to professors and stuff for history, and but of course that's always kind of hard to get a response from a very busy professor for our little history podcast. So we're
now,
not sure.
Have you been collecting a network? Do you have followers of your Twitter account, Instagram account? Do you have an email list of your listeners by any chance?
We have a pretty good following on Instagram, almost 300 followers, which is, pretty good for not really doing any paid, just kind of doing it organically. And we've gotten a lot of, not a lot, but I'd say we've gotten a few listener submissions. We always ask them to, hey, write in for stuff you want us to cover. So we've gotten a few people that way and kind of built some relationships that way, which has been fun.
So here's anything that's a really great thing. So if you've got a list of those people, of your listeners that have emailed in or messaged in or even on the following on Twittergram, create something for them. It could be it could be an Instagram post or a Twitter post that, hey, we're excited. Lauren's podcast is back. Our 5-minute history is back. They're back, or something like that. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that we've done in the past with some of our loyal listeners and loyal clients and students like that, is when they were coming to us, they were excited to be a part of it. So we created an infographic that they could use. They could share in their social medias. figure out a day. Are you planning on doing like an episode drop of like 10 episodes for a new series, or just kick it back off with one episode, or what are you thinking?
We usually do, with History in a Hurry, it's one episode per week. Occasionally we'll have like a 2-parter if it's a super complicated topic. With Coldest Cases, mine are a little more long form narrative, and it kind of depends on the subject. Sometimes I have 5-parters, sometimes they're just 2-parters, and I have them come out every week, and then I'll take a couple weeks off in between subjects. So it's a little sporadic, but it's just research sake mostly is why I do it that way. Just because I'm trying to stay ahead mostly.
Right. Well, maybe if you did Carol Baskin really kill her husband would be a good episode. Is relevant right now, right?
Right.
Or something. That's the thing is share that you're coming back. Make it, if you could even record 2 or 3 episodes so you've got a little bit of a mini binge thing so they can get back into listening.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would be something better than just one episode. Like, we got her fixed, but now I need more.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I drop a couple at a time and then tease ahead. So like, hey, I know you missed me, so here's 2 episodes instead of 1.
Yeah, a 2 for Tuesday or double dip.
I like that. Okay.
But sharing that and then asking, maybe send an email out, post a contest for the most creative. Hey, share that we're going live, or share that we're back, or maybe you do a live stream where you invite your friends and followers to jump on to have them share their favorite part of the show.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that's something that I haven't Instagram Live. It's funny because I have a background in TV journalism, but I was always like the person behind the camera, right. Like 100%. And I feel that way a little bit about Instagram. Like I'll post like cool content, but I rarely like kind of do some FaceTime. So maybe I should just dive in and show my face more.
I think a big thing, my good friend Molly Mahoney would always say, start a Facebook group for your listeners.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
For your audience. That would be something you could publicize on Instagram, do it on a Facebook Live. Hey, if you listen to the show, start 2 groups, one for the 5-minute history and then the other one for your show,
Okay. Awesome. These are all good ideas.
But promote, hey, we're back. Hey, we're kicking off a live stream. We did that for our 300th episode. I think I did a live. I used to do mostly live episodes anyway, but we cut back and doing them live, where we re-release them the next day. But you could do you could use Zoom like this to share your show, do a quick recap from the previous episodes, and then maybe have an outline of what's on tap for the future.
Okay, these are great. This is just like a fresh perspective. Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't know how else to talk about history. Like, I don't know, I'm out.
Well, the thing that comes to mind with history, I think that's been popular from just the last couple years. Obviously, Drunken History has done really well on TV and YouTube, right?
Yes.
But then the history rap battles. Do you remember seeing those on
great.
YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Also great. So maybe, finding something like that as a promo, or reaching out to those guys that are doing that, maybe them as a guest on, might be
that's a good idea.
To be on the history podcast.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to start looking into that. Thank you. This was super helpful. Yeah. I'm just like, I was kind of not sure where to begin with, like, how do you, the revamp, new and improved, is hard to, I didn't really know where to begin with promoting that.
Well, the very common thing for revamping is tweaking a logo, changing a logo up, changing your artwork. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm a big fan. You start yourself a Facebook group for your listeners for both shows. If there's just 5 people, there's 5 people, but those are your rabidest, people that listen in all the time. Reach out, advertise any reviews you've gotten is another thing.
Oh, great idea. Yeah, we have a few.
And then also, see if you can't, see if there's any large, talking about advertising other people's shows, maybe you just check out who's got other, obviously there's Southern Fried True Crime is one that comes to my mind all the time. That might be worth doing a cross promo.
Okay. Yeah.
Reach out, hey, I'd love to give you a shout out my show if you give me a shout out in your show. We work, kind of bounce ideas back and forth or something like that. So.
Okay. Great. I love it.
All righty, Lauren.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Make sure you post when you're back, post it in the Facebook group and on the meetup group as well too. Okay.
Okay. I will.
Good stuff. Thanks, Lauren.
Yep.
All right. We're going to bring on Dr. Change to Timothy. And bring on Dr. Karen Will Starks. Okay, let's bring her on. I think it's the worst is past us. On the storm, here, okay? All right, let's see if she's coming on here. So Dr. Karen, you should be getting a notice that, hey, rejoin as a panelist. Try it one more time. There she goes, working out. All right, let me unmute you. Okay. Dr. Karen?
Yes. Hi, Scott.
How's it
Good to
going?
see you. All is well. All is well.
Good to see you. Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about you and your podcast.
Sure. First, I want to let me ask the two questions I want to focus on up front, and then I'll tell you all the stuff we're doing and about the podcast. I want to know how to market my podcast better. And secondly, I want to know how to attract high-end business executive guests. So those are the two things I want to know. Now, my podcast is called The Voice of Leadership. We started it in January 2019. We've got 151 episodes. We typically do new shows every Tuesday and every Thursday. My target audience is actually business executives. I'm particularly interested in corporate, but they could be entrepreneurial or whatever. And I'm also, we are also reposting archived episodes. So episodes from the past, we actually have those air on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have a very creative team, so they create really nice visuals for every show. And we have 6 social media channels that we push it out to, but I have very small social media followings, and I have a small email list. We send it to all of these, but those are not huge groups. All of our shows are also archived on my website, transleadership.com for the company, so they're there. And the show itself is mostly me. Most of the time I have guests once a month. And when I'm sharing, I'm either talking about what an executive can do to either develop themselves, to develop their leadership team, how to create the culture that's important. So it'll be some show related to that. Sometimes I'm talking about more like just information, like how do you do so-and-so. Other times I'm giving an example, like I did a 2-part episode about Jacinda Ardern, who is the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and how she led through the coronavirus as an example of excellent leadership. Other times it'll be something really different, like what if this time period is like a Sabbath rest for the people? And then I'll go off into a metaphor of some sort like that. So the shows can be diverse in that sense, but they're designed, it's all about leadership, and it's designed for senior leaders in particular. We do promote it not only to our social media, email, every episode we do that. And we also promote it through Binge. So Binge also sends it out as well. And it's my impression that people will look at the promo for the show, because those are pretty creative and pretty interesting, and they'll like that, but I don't think they're really listening to the show.
So
That's
that brings
one
me.
thing.
So how many guests do you think you've had on your episodes total? How many guests? Because it's mostly, is it 10 guests? Is it 20 guests? Or is it 50
No,
guests?
we just started doing guests this year. And like I said, it's been once a month. So this is now May. We did 2 in May because one of them was actually a more like an infomercial, but it was set up like a guest. And so that's going to be about 6 total. And we do put commercials in our podcast of our own things. So like, for example, sometimes I promote my book, Lead Yourself First. Sometimes I promote consulting, call me for consulting. And sometimes I promote my online Teams course as well. And so we're doing that. We've had a hard time getting what I'd call celebrity business guests, but we've had great guests. So like, for example, my guest tomorrow, she's an international Latina thought leader, New York Times bestselling author, and she's talking about multicultural leadership, and she's really good, and has a lot of credits to her name, a lot of awards, and so on and so forth. So we get great people, but they might not be, let's say, like the head of Disney or something like that. So I'm thinking about how can we attract maybe some names that people know, and how can we promote better? I think the most famous person I've interviewed was a woman. She's was the first person in the military to also be a beauty pageant queen simultaneously. and she's very well known.
So what I would do, the first thing I would do is look at where your guests, what social media platforms your guests are on. So having somebody in your team, go follow them on Facebook, go follow them on Instagram, go follow them on LinkedIn, especially.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that way, when you post these platforms, hopefully they've connected or something to your friendship or connection, and you can still tag them.
Oh yeah, my guests who are on my show, we send them a whole social media package so that they can promote.
I get that. I'm not worried about that because I don't
Oh.
expect guests to share. What I'm saying is you post and tag them so it shows up that you've done 99% of the work. All they got to do is accept it, is what I'm trying to get at.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I know that we all send packages, and it's probably less than 10 to 20% of our guests that actually will get around to sharing it. But if you do all the lifting, if you got a team already creating this stuff, send it to them, yes, but go ahead and post it and tag them in it, or mention them in the comments by connecting with them via the social media platforms as well. Because a lot of times we'll mention somebody, and they'll come up and they'll comment, and the people that follow them see that they commented on a post, they see they'd like to post, especially on LinkedIn, which is going to be probably your primary place to find really good quality guests for you. Does that make sense?
For sure.
I would be sharing in the LinkedIn groups because there's some very big entrepreneur groups on LinkedIn.
So when you say share, like what would I be sharing in those groups?
So let me just show you. Let me just show
Okay.
you here real fast. So it's like what I just did. I did for the show tonight, for the podcast, for this episode. So if you go to LinkedIn,
Uh-huh.
can you guys see? Let me share my screen here. Hang on a second here. I don't think so. Let me share this so you guys can see. Boom. All right. So LinkedIn is right here, okay? If I go over here to your groups, if you go to groups, you see I'm a part of a bunch of groups, right?
I think we're part of a few groups.
I think there's a lot of them, okay?
Okay.
That's another thing. But like if you're doing an entrepreneurial thing, I would jump over here, this one group that's got 73,000 members. And then start a conversation in the group, maybe put the infographic of your most recent episode, tag the person that's a guest or one of your previous guests, and the image, a short paragraph or two about the episode, and a link to the actual episode they could listen to it or watch the video. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Some of the things that we do with our previous episodes, let me go here, let me go to my home and share this with you, is that I have a podcast production team that see here, it's like Greg Reed. Okay, here's a great example. My buddy Greg Reed, award-winning author, speaker, and filmmaker. He's the author of Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, that he co-wrote with Sharon Lechter. He's doing a short video about something, collaborating with his tribe. Doing a short video, 10 minutes or less, about the episode would also be a really good thing for you to share or to create. Hey, on our upcoming episode, we've got Greg Reed coming on, who is he's blah, blah, blah. Or we've got the first person in the military who is also a beauty pageant winner coming on the show, at whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
And learn about, and then obviously use the hashtags, beauty pageant, hashtag military, Navy, Army, Marines, all that stuff in there. Okay. But that's the thing is, and another thing too, I think you get out what you put out there. So if you have a list of people or executives or leaders that you would like to interview, create you a top 100 list. And, I've got a couple buddies, I've created a top 100 list that I basically will send out every once in a while. Hey, do you know anybody on my top 100 that I can be introduced to?
Uh-huh. So ask for introductions.
Ask for introductions. Every guest, hey, do you happen to know somebody that would be a good referral? Because good people hang around good people. You know what I mean? Do you have somebody that trained you, somebody that was at a previous company with you? But I would spend time here on LinkedIn and looking to see who's sharing and see if they fall in line with what you're doing, what you're sharing. Obviously, you want to increase your connections, but I would spend a lot of time with who's sharing in some of these different entrepreneur groups first and go from there.
And since my target audience is more corporate than even entrepreneur, are you aware of groups on LinkedIn that are specifically that?
Sort of like corporate leadership?
Yes.
Let's just type it in, take a look.
Okay.
Corporate leadership. And then let's change this to, let's change this to groups. There you go. 9 leaders, a movement on leadership and corporate innovation, 4,800 members.
Okay.
Military and corporate leadership. There you go. That would be a good place to join that group and post that there. Command performance.
Because I'm former military myself, so
Yes,
that
ma'am.
fits.
Thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We met at New Media Summit, if I remember correctly, back a couple years ago.
We did.
You always have
good.
something.
You
You always
remember.
have something in your hair. It's always beautiful. It's like your marketing piece. Your
It
branding.
is. I'm glad you remember me. Yes, we did meet at New Media Summit. That's right.
Corporate management, but you can see some of the stuff here. I would just flip through. There's a whole variety of different things under linked to leadership, corporate council, leadership community. There's 100+ groups. So
Excellent. Okay.
that would be a place to go to identify the post and something. So I'd pick out, 10 or I think you can have up to 40 groups in your profile.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's really helpful because anything else besides getting specifically introduced to some of, I call them the celebrity business leaders, any other strategies for being able to get their attention and make them pay attention, so to speak?
you could always send them a gift if you've got a book or something else. I've seen this done before where people have found an address for the person they want to, and they send a gift and said, hey, just want to pass my book on to you. Not looking for a recommendation, just wanted to maybe a note, I would find out what those people's passions are. That's why I would say on LinkedIn, oftentimes they'll list their charities they're passionate about and say, hey, I would love to have you on the show. And, you have a cause or something like that. We have you talk about your passion. That's always a good thing to get people in there. And then just find out who they're connected to. If you've got any mutual friends, don't be afraid to reach out. Hey, Scott, I see you're connected to this person. Or, hey, I see you're connected to this person. I would also, here's the thing too. If you've identified somebody, go and see what other podcasts that they've been on.
Okay.
And then reach out to that podcaster and say, hey, I would love to have this person on. Can you help me make an introduction or anything like that?
That's a great idea. I love that. Yeah, that might actually work. All right, this is phenomenal. You've given me a lot of things that I can do to sort of increase the visibility of the show and to market it a little bit better. So thank you.
You're welcome. And the beautiful thing, LinkedIn, people love reading the blogs. The blogs, the longer form content. We did an episode last Wednesday night about using LinkedIn. But if you also see somebody on there, send them a recommendation. If you like something that they've been a part of, or you heard them speak somewhere, you can go to anybody's profile and send them a recommendation. And it pops up. And they're like, oh, who's this person just left a recommendation? Well, it's me. I would love to have you on my podcast. I'd love to brag on you some more in my show. Who doesn't like having somebody come and brag on them? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Wonderful.
So yeah, I'd make you the top 100. I'd promote more in the groups, and then just tag. Go ahead and post the social media and where those people are located. Their social media. If they're on Facebook, share it on Facebook. If they're in a group, tag them in their profile. So I'm going to say the same thing like I told Nadia. If you're doing video, that's going to help because you're going to hit. Not only on the audio side, people listening, but also the video side and the search engines that YouTube and Google work for you. Okay.
So if I have not a true video, but like with Binge, there's the cover page that's not really a video. Do those work on YouTube?
They do. They don't work as well. What are you doing to record your episodes? What are you using?
We record on Skype, and then I have a producer who actually does the editing and so on and so forth. So it's audio.
But you can use video with Skype though.
We have not, and
but you can. What I'm trying to get, I know you haven't, but you can. And
the reason why I say I probably can't because I don't have the bandwidth. The area where I live is not served by high-speed internet, so it doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be tougher there for you. So
yeah, it's a little more challenging. Sometimes I don't even know if in meetings like this I might get kicked out. It might not work. Especially
you're doing great. You're doing
yeah,
great.
so far today it's working, but that's no guarantee.
Go ahead and record 100 episodes really fast. Like
I'm telling you.
The thing about using a static image like that, I'm a previous Binge client. I didn't really see a lot of good stuff coming from that. It didn't do as much as I thought it would do. I didn't get a lot of hits off my videos, so it just made more sense for me just to kind of handle it myself and just reshare it with that same static image and that video by just sharing it to YouTube. That's something better than nothing. So I would just go ahead and share it. You could also release it on Facebook as a Facebook Live if you got the video with a static image too.
Okay.
They're connected via using repurpose.io that we mentioned earlier.
I have that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would just, I would just upload that. You could have it uploaded to YouTube and then reshare it, via Restream,
Okay.
where it goes live to YouTube across your YouTube channels.
Okay. Because we haven't done that, so we could do that.
And honestly, if you've got a really good episode, I would just pull out your phone. It's got a video feature on it. You don't need good internet. Just record you a short little 5-10 minute intro video, and then you can upload that directly to LinkedIn as your promo.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you. Anytime. Thanks for jumping in here, Dr. Karen. Good to see you again.
You too.
Thank you again for your service. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to, okay?
I sure will. Thanks so much, Scott.
No problem. All right, we got a couple questions here. Let me do this real fast. Working on do that. Change roll to 10D. See here, Daniel Roy says, thank you, Scott and Dr. Wilson. Thank you, Daniel Roy. Baron, okay. He put his LinkedIn profile. That's awesome. Great stuff. As always, guys, I highly encourage you to go over, make sure you're a member of the Facebook group, the Mass Media Podcast Mastermind group on Facebook, and then also the Meetup group is out of Austin, Texas. We changed it from Syntax Podcasters to the Mass Media Mastermind, our podcast mastermind group there as well, too, for you guys. Got a couple other chats here. Emma, okay, so Emma says, are podcasters really willing to do that kind of introductions? How about the phone? Yeah, Emma, definitely. I think Emma, you joined us a little bit late. I introduced 3 people today to 3 really high-end guests on my that I've had on my podcast in the past, my friends. So I think it all depends on who you talk to. I think it's important to talk with a person. Say, hey, I'm a fellow podcaster in your niche. Let's collaborate. Offer up. Say, hey, I listen to your podcast. I might have a great guest for your show. Would you mind making an introduction to me? So it's always the giver's gain aspect. Give first, and if you, then ask back for it. And then give. If you didn't get a response back, hey, move on to the next place. So, but pick up the phone, drop a message, review. Hey, I love your show. I think you're doing a great job. Those are all great things to help kind of instigate things. So, Emma, I think you were the one that sent me the email earlier, if I remember correctly. Yes, Emma was. You ready to jump on here in a hot seat? We can bring you over a panelist with video and audio like we did there. You feel good about that, Emma? All right, we'll do that for Emma then. Let's bring her on.
There I am.
There we are. Hey, Emma, how's it going?
Good.
So you wrote me an email, and I got through most of it. Why don't you take a second here for those that are here watching us and listening to us? Well, share a little about your podcast and the Cliff Notes version, if you don't mind, a little bit what your focus is on.
Okay. My latest audience are realtors because I'm an architect and interior designer, and I've created a program for them to help them see properties the way I can, envision the great things that could happen to it so they can share that with their clients so they can help sell homes faster and for higher profits. And what I'm doing is gathering people who offer different kinds of business skills to widen their horizons with their businesses. I've had a social media person on. I'll have a contractor, HGTV contractor soon. I don't want to say that because he's going to book, didn't yet. But, building industry people. I've had people who deal with language and connecting with clients. So all those kind of things that, for all of us, help our businesses, but they're not really trained in that kind of thing. So that's what I'm trying to bring to them. I also have a course. I just taught the first class about this thing. So, it's new. I just released it 3 weeks ago, and I started a Facebook group because the idea is to sell my program. And for those courses, they're only $25. So I got to do volume, but there's other things I can do. I have some services that I can help them with too. They can hire me to help them with ideas, or help them with their clients and ideas for properties. So, and the other part of it, what I started doing was for homeowners. I have a program for them too, to guide them through the process of home remodeling. I have a podcast for them, which I kind of abandoned about 6 months ago because I started this realtor thing, but I realized it's going to work together. So I'm going to continue with that one. And I'm working on a summit that I didn't finish last year for the homeowners. And I published a book for homeowners guide to stress-free remodeling. So I have all these things in place. Got to get it out there and get known.
You're bringing in a little bit more of a focus. Okay. The first thing that popped up to me when you mentioned about your first podcast, how you have people all over the place. I would narrow your focus down to a little bit, maybe focusing on bringing on your realtors or your realtors vendors to help you invigorate that and be more focused on that aspect. Because if your goal is to get them into your stuff is good for continuing education in Nevada, if I remember, is going to be good in other states to sell them on other products, right?
Right. And I'm hoping to get it in other states as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Continuing education is pretty easy. You got to send it in, pay your fees, and go from there. But I would think just calling up other offering and pitching yourself to other real estate agent podcasts would be a good way to get the word out, and then you could do episode swaps, have them on your show to talk about them, and then they have you on their show to talk about what your focus is on that aspect. To talk about, if you're dealing with buyers looking to rehab, it may not be a commission for your realtors, but it's a free tool that we have, a free lead magnet for listeners out there. I would also maybe, where are you at, in Las Vegas, or where are you at in Nevada?
Reno, north of Vegas.
Okay.
Reno.
Go to the Reno Board of Realtors.
Yeah.
And I would do, offer there, talk to see if they have an opportunity. Because if your class is available for continuing education, oftentimes they'll opt for you to come in and teach there publicly. And that would be a great way to boost your podcast downloads.
Well, that's where it started. They were all enthusiastic, and they scheduled me, but then they didn't, I don't know, they had some meeting and they said they weren't going to promote my class. So it's like, fine. Okay. So I was invited by the other board down in Carson City here. So I'm just going to promote it myself.
Well, but that's the way I would do it. But also I would reach out to different real estate teams, some of the bigger EXP, Keller Williams. If it's, that's the beautiful thing. If your thing is approved for continuing education. Now, I'll tell you right now, realtors, and no offense to any realtors, and I'm friends, I have plenty of them that are great people. Most of them are extremely cheap when it comes down to marketing.
I know, yes.
Okay, so it might be better to take a look at a different and do a different spin. And I'm talking like the difference between a Home Depot spin and a Lowe's spin. Home Depot is more for the rehab, the contractors. Lowe's is more for the higher end, the weekend warriors for the most part. So maybe reaching out to, once we get back in, any home expos that are taking place, maybe offering up a class, see if Lowe's will allow you to come in, or Home Depot will allow you to teach a Saturday afternoon class, which is sometimes I've seen that happen. And then just reaching out and maybe also running on the MLS, a list of your top teams, the top agents selling homes, and then reach out to them directly to not only be on your show, but then also, if they've got a podcast, hey, have you be on as a podcast, but market your book as a free tool, free tip, maybe something that they can send their clients, because they're always looking for something to touch base. We all know the 12 rule touch system, right? So maybe, hey, I got an ebook you can share to your listeners or to your clients as an easy, if they're looking to rehab, if we're all sitting at home staring at the same stain on the wall for 3 months now, they're ready to paint it over, right?
Good.
But then I would also look at, there's also some large real estate or rehab investment club groups that are available. Meetup, if you go to Meetup there in Carson City. And
I do. I've spoken at a couple of those, so I'm doing the circuit with that too. They're good.
Very good. There you go. I think that's what I would do.
Right.
For the most part, but I would focus on either or. I wouldn't try to do too much at the same time. Pick one and get rocking and rolling if you can. Yeah.
It's been great so far. It's really been fun. So
good, Emma. Well, if we can help in any way, and the same thing, feel free to post. Feel free to share your shows, and everybody on there who's listening, feel free to share your shows in the Facebook group and the Meetup group as well too. We'd love to continue and share for you and help you out any way we can. And then I would just, here's the thing. If you want to look for the lowest hanging fruit, Emma, just go and type into your iTunes realtor or real estate agent on iTunes and see what podcasts pop up there. And then I would target those people. Say, hey, I offer this. This is what I do. I've got a free tool for your listeners if you're looking for guests in your podcast. I mean, that's one thing that we saw an immediate increase in our downloads is when we started booking more guest appearances on other people's shows.
Oh, great. Okay, good. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Emma. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, being a brave soul tonight. Thank you for the email, as always.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys. Let's see here. Let me do that change. Roll to attendee. And let's see here. David, you want to come on? David Schreiner-Kahn, you got a couple minutes. We'll wrap it up with you. I see on here the panelist. I just need you to share your video and share your audio if you want to jump on here, David, since you're part of the mastermind. There he is. Hey, David, how's it going? Oh,
Gotta turn the mic on too. I'm doing well. How are you, Scott?
good. I am loving the Corona haircut you got going on. It's a little bit longer. Mine's a little bit shorter.
I love yours too.
I made the mistake of going out this weekend and the top of my head got sunburned without a hat on a Saturday afternoon. So, but
That's what you get for living in Texas.
yeah, that's right. My hair was it was starting to bother me in the side, so I had to buzz it all off. But how, tell everybody who's on here tonight about your podcast and what's something you're looking for help with.
So I host two shows, Smashing the Plateau, that I launched in 2014. It's a show to help entrepreneurs that want to be successful over the long term. When we look at breakthroughs are what other people notice after you've taken thousands of tiny steps and pivots. So this is all about all those tiny steps and pivots and the unexpected roadblocks.
Right.
And last year I launched a second show, Going Solo, which is about navigating the transition from employment to entrepreneurship. If you think about high achieving, highly skilled professionals that are like 20 to 30 years in corporate, they increasingly, it's becoming increasingly common at some point for them to get told that their services are no longer needed. And for many of them, they've already gotten tired of corporate and they've thought about entrepreneurship. Others come to it when they realize that's the only way they're actually going to make a living at this point in their life. It's a tough transition, and we feature people who are going through it or have gone through it recently, as well as some folks that help people like that.
Have you seen an increase in listens since everything began here with so many people going on furloughs or being laid off?
Yes, in both shows.
One thing that I might do, it comes to the top of my head, is just tracking the companies that are going out of business or huge layoffs, and then going online and targeting, doing a search on LinkedIn to target them. Say, hey, I just want to touch base. I run a podcast. If you know anybody that you've worked with has been laid off, that might be a fit. I'd love a referral. That might be an easy thing to do out there. And then, same thing. If you've got a top 100 for the Smashing the Plateau, share that with people. Share it with the network, because there's a lot of people out there that have got connections, and we're all 1 degree away from Kevin Bacon for the most part these days. So if you got any guests that you'd like to have or fall into specific categories, I would send an email out to your podcasting network of friends and families, or posted it in a couple groups. I'm looking for a couple guests. I think you should probably fill those pretty easily these days.
Oh yeah, getting guests has never been an issue.
Okay. What's the big thing then? What's the big issue then for you?
I don't know that I have a huge issue. Like the reason that I'm here and here most Wednesday nights is because I want to get better at promotion. And a lot of the promotion over the last 6 years has been organic. It hasn't really been with a huge strategy behind it. So I'm learning the techniques, and just slowly I'll start to employ them.
Cool. I would be sharing your show, like I said, with Dr. Wilson there in the different LinkedIn groups, the entrepreneur groups, stuff like that. That would be good. I would maybe reach out and do reach out to different SCORE executives in different parts of the country. Maybe if you know the bigger areas of the country where your listeners are from or your social media followers are from. Finding the big cities. Like I know New York's a big market for us, Houston, Dallas, I know like my top 10 cities. And reaching out to the SBA associations in those areas.
Yeah, SCORE is a good idea.
Yeah, and SCORE, and then maybe being a resource that way too for you.
Okay, good, thanks.
You're welcome, David. Good to see you, bud. Be safe.
Good to see you too.
Healthy.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Anybody else want to jump on here before we wrap it up? Anybody, quick comment? Need a quick hit of anything for you? Before we let you go here for Wednesday evening. Let's see here. We got a comment. Real estate professionals and stress-free remodeling. Yeah, Emma, I think the stress-free remodeling, I love that aspect. Share it into groups. That's what's, I'm a part of different Facebook podcasting groups, and usually one day a week they have a share your episode, and so I'll share an episode, hey, what's my most recent episode? But I'll go through and look at who else is on there and see if they're an ideal guest or if they're an ideal thing. But I think stress-free remodeling, oh my God, Emma, I think you could share that with realtors and fix and flippers, and then also your real estate investment groups, besides just your meetup groups and clubs like that too. There's so many groups out there, especially starting in Nevada and working your way out. The Facebook group here for us for this is very simple. It's just the Mass Media Podcast Mastermind. So I encourage you all to join there, share your podcast, share your artwork, share your link, and help everybody out there. And as always, if we can do and help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, everybody. We are here to help you all. Be safe, be healthy, and keep kicking butt and taking names, everybody, with your shows. Keep sharing, keep producing. It's okay to sit it down, because I think sometimes we go through those things like, oh, I got to take a little bit of break. I know I did when everything was going crazy. I was like, I'm going to take 2 weeks here to figure out where the market's going before I come back on my podcast. So I'm relevant with everything going on. So you may need to do the same. But as always, guys, feel free to reach out. Feel free to ask questions. Use the group. Post your questions. Post your concerns there. The more you post, the better it is for everybody, because I guarantee that you aren't the only ones that are going through these issues. We hear a lot of the same questions on whether it's live webinars or virtual summits or in-person events too out there. Share it, and the resources and answers are just one ask away for you. Perfect. Emma's going to introduce David to a guest. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome, Emma. If you guys are looking for anybody on here, looking at introductions, and we've got an opportunity, hey, I'm glad to help introduce them for you as well. But otherwise, guys and gals, thank you so much for joining us on the Mass Media Podcast Mastermind Hot Seat Day. Hopefully it was valuable for you. I'm thinking we'll probably start doing these on a monthly basis, at least one Wednesday night, because I think there's a lot of people will enjoy these as a way to help them boost and grow. Always probably had like 3 other people that reached out like, hey, I want to be on. And they didn't show, which is, but for those that showed, thank you for being here. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for sharing more importantly, and being vulnerable. Nadia, Karen, Dr. Wilson, and David. Go out, be safe, everybody, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.